Hi everyone and welcome to a really special show. So it's just been announced by the Royal Mail that some brand new Elton John stamps are going to be released. So they celebrate 50 years since Elton's first album and also celebrate his farewell tour. Today I've got with me Rowena. Hello. Who's going to help me look through all the Elton stamps that have come out. And honestly, Rowena, any question we have about stamps, you're our go, aren't you?
I hope so.
Yeah. So they've released 8 stamps for his albums. So that's all his best-selling albums.
Yeah, so it's got 8 of the iconic album covers that Elton John fans will love. He's actually released about 30 albums throughout his career.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's just the 8 best.
Yeah, and a good little fact, Elton's actually seen these stamps, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been approved by Elton John management.
Quite cool fact. So don't forget, if you want to own any of these collectibles that we discuss in the show, head over to the link on the screen now to find out more. So first up is Honky Chateau, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is Elton's first breakthrough album, but why Honky Chateau?
It's a bit of a strange name, so it's actually where it was recorded.
Okay, and this one features the hit Rocket Man.
Yeah.
So it's obviously going to prove popular with a lot of people.
Especially with the recent release of the film back in May.
Yeah, so we can't go without mentioning that, can we?
Definitely not.
So it proved really popular this summer, and Taron Egerton really does have a history of Elton John songs with his career, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he's a big fan of Elton John already. Even when he auditioned for acting school, he performed Your Song.
Yeah, and he was in the children's animation film Sing, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he sang I'm Still Standing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history with Taron Egerton, so it was really no surprise he would get that part.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to think that's actually him singing those Elton songs.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So next up, it's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and I think this has to be the pinnacle of Elton's career, don't you agree?
I would agree.
So it was released back in 1973 and really does feature some top songs.
Yeah, so it features Candle in the Wind, Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting, and Benny and the Jets.
So it's no surprise that Rolling Stone readers actually voted it as their favourite album.
Yeah, especially as Candle in the Wind is the best-selling single of all time since records began.
Yeah, so it was trumped on some of the charts by a Christmas song, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bing Crosby's White Christmas, of course.
A signed album is actually selling for almost £3,000. So that's a lot of money. So there's people out there that will have these in their collections, up in the loft. Honestly, you never know who might have this album. It could be worth a lot of money. Next up is Elton's 4th consecutive US #1, so this is Caribou.
Yeah, so this features The Bitch Is Back and Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me.
Yeah, so on this album, it's the start of Elton's crazy, crazy sunglasses collection, isn't it?
Yep, he's even wearing them today.
Yep, so I forgot to say, we're actually joined by Elton. He's a little bit rigid, but he's here. So yeah, on the album, as you can see, he's wearing sunglasses, and he's actually got over 250,000 pairs, apparently.
That's crazy.
But it's quite good because Elton and his husband opened up a pop-up shop where they sold all the amazing outfits, sunglasses, and other memorabilia, and they donated the money made, didn't they, to charity?
So they've done a lot of charity work. Elton's got a CBE, Commander of the Order of the British Empire, which is the highest ranking Order of the British Empire award.
Okay, well, obviously that's to be expected because between 1970 and 2009, every single year he had at least one hit. So next up, and this album artwork probably has to have the most going on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, there is definitely a lot going on in there.
So this is Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. So tell me a bit more about this one.
So this was in the early days of Bernie Taupin's and Elton John's career.
Yep, and the stand-up song?
Definitely Someone Saved My Life Tonight. It mentions his suicide attempt in 1968.
Which I think is good that they mentioned this and actually brought attention to it in the film. So Elton actually said himself that he didn't want it to be PG and he wanted to include all the sex, drugs and rock and roll and just really show an accurate representation.
Yeah, so I think that does limit the audience, but the fact that it was still a box office hit shows that it's still a success.
So next up, we've got Sleeping with the Past, and this was the start of quite a dark time for Elton, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just before he went into rehab.
Yeah, and this album is actually a homage to soul and R&B, am I right in saying?
He was inspired by 1960s music.
And I didn't know this until I started my research, but Elton actually has a song with Tupac, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ghetto Gospel.
And I bet quite a lot of people didn't know that. So obviously we've mentioned 5 albums so far, but there are 8 stamps released of his albums. So we've got The One, Made in England, and songs from the West Coast. So as well as the 8 album artworks on the stamps, there's also miniature sheets, aren't there?
Yeah.
So what is a mini sheet for those people that don't know?
So a mini sheet or a souvenir sheet features a smaller amount of stamps still on the sheet that they're actually printed on. So it sort of also adds some extra artwork for the commemoration or the theme. So for this miniature sheet, it features Elton John live in concert, and also has a great image of him wearing one of his most crazy outfits.
So they actually show all the moments that fans could have been present at or seen on TV. So I think they relate to a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of you might have even been there. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, so first up, we've got Madison Square Garden. So this was in 2018.
Yeah, so it's actually during the start of his Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour.
So Elton's had actually over 4,000 performances in his lifetime.
Yeah, and that's over 80 countries. And he's 72 years old and he's still on tour.
So next up, this is a stamp that I feel like most fans and just the general public will remember, won't they?
Definitely. So this was him performing at Buckingham Palace in 2012.
Yeah, so this was for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee concert. So what did he perform here?
So Your Song, Crocodile Rock, and I'm Still Standing.
So all the hits, really. So next up, we're going back to 1973, so it's a bit of a jump backwards.
Yeah, well, this was the year Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was released.
So the pinnacle of his career. So this is that Hammersmith Odeon, wasn't it?
Yeah, so this was Elton's Christmas Party, I think it's famously known as.
So next up, this actually has to be my favourite stamp of them all. It's the scene that you'd remember as a fan or from the film, and I feel like it was the most fun concert he probably had. So I'm talking Dodger Stadium, 1975.
So this was part of the West of Rockies tour.
And so it had 2 sold-out dates, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that's over 100,000 people. So we're talking a lot of fans. So unused tickets for this stadium tour are actually selling for over £100. So that's a lot of money for just an unused ticket, really. And all of these stamps today are postmarked, aren't they?
Yeah, so a postmark is an official mark stamp by Royal Mail onto the stamps with a specific date and location, and it captures that moment in time. So the postmark for these Elton John stamps is the first day of issue, the release date, today of course, 3rd of September. So there's only a limited amount of collectibles that will be able to feature this postmark.
Yeah, so for collectors, the postmark really is the stamp or seal of approval, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely adds collectability.
Yeah, and you'd always want to own the one that has the postmark because, like you said, it links to that important anniversary and really sets it apart from most other collectibles. So don't forget, if you want to own any of the collectibles we've discussed in today's show, head on over to the link on screen now because there are a lot of different collectibles and ways to own them, aren't there?
Yeah, so there are 4 great ways to own these stamps. There's the collector card, that features just the 8 stamps with the album artwork on them.
Yep, which we've just discussed in detail.
Yep.
Next up.
So the A4 frame, definitely my favourite. That also adds the miniature sheet on there as well.
Okay, and this is where the edition limit comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the edition limit for that one is only £9.95.
And I mean, when we just discussed 100,000 people watched him, that was just 2 dates of his tour, so £9.95 in comparison.
Yeah, there's definitely not
It's nothing.
enough to go around for his fans.
Yeah, so with the A4 frame, it's ready to hang, isn't it, and present?
Yeah, it will look great in your home.
Yeah, so any Elton fan, just any stamp collecting fan, this is probably the way they'd want to show it off. So next up is another frame, and I think this is probably the best way to own it for Elton John fans and collectors. So it's actually all of the releases from the Royal Mail today. So tell us a bit more, Rowena.
So this features the first day covers issued from Royal Mail, and these are actually hot off the press. As you can see, they are postmarked with today's date.
And the edition limit?
So the edition is just £4.95, and this is number 1.
So it really is the one you want to own, isn't it?
Definitely. It also features the info card in the middle there with extra information about the stamps and the designs.
So next up is the capsule editions, and these are for the collectors out there that really want to preserve these releases, don't they?
Yeah, so with the capsule editions, each individual stamp is encapsulated, and these can be passed around. You can show it off to your friends and family without fear of damaging them in any way. It's the perfect way to then pass them down for generations.
And you can own it from just £10 a month, isn't it?
Yep, and it all comes presented in a deluxe presentation box.
Don't forget, if you want to own any of the collectibles we've discussed in today's show, head over to the link on screen now. Thanks for joining me, Rowena.
Thank you.
I'm sure a lot of Elton John fans will be really happy with this latest release. Don't forget, if you want to hear more about upcoming releases and collecting news, subscribe to our channel and also check out our other videos.